So, Susie, we're here today to do Oracle Oasis, and it's called Weekly with Elizabeth Waters. And
Okay.
and we know that you do story brand. And what we don't know exactly is what story brand is. And to me, I want to talk to you not only about what you do, but give you my perspective about stories. Because stories for me, like you said, some are real and some are not. And people create life on stories instead of being conscious and present. And I always teach people to be conscious and present in the moment. And but what you have is adding real value based on your story. And so I want to see how we can come together, creating a conscious presence in the moment and how that relates to building story brand and marketing for small business owners or anybody really who is trying to create and themselves or brand themselves with stories. And so let's talk about that.
Well, first of all, we as humans are hardwired to create, to remember stories. Story is how we make sense of the world. Story is how we create a memory so that we can remember something that happened or something that someone else did. So stories are just fundamental to the way that our brains work. And we all live in our own story. We're all the superstar of our own movie. And everyone else they're just supporting characters. And so we make sense of our world by figuring out how we fit into the story that we're living. Um, that might sound a little out there, but I stick with me here. So we all have our own stories, we all have our own issues, our own problems. And I think that as business owners, we look at our businesses and we think, oh, my business is here to solve other people's problems. That means I'm the hero. I'm the one who's going to step in and save the day. And the bottom line is, other people don't care, basically, on a basic level, what your story is. They just want to know how you fit into their story.
Mm.
And if you can come in as a helper, as a guide, as someone who can help, as a leader or a guide who can help your client or customer solve a problem and give their story a happy ending, then that's the interaction that we have with each other. It's not so much that you're in my story, it's that I am a part of your story. And um I think that's like the fundamental of story brand, that our businesses don't step in and save the day for other people. We as business owners guide, we mentor our clients and customers through the trials and tribulations of their own stories by helping them win, by helping them become the hero. Um, I think, but in order to do that, we have to build our own credibility. We have to show that we have, they call it EEAT, experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And if we have those four things, then we show ourselves to be good mentors, good guides for those people who have turned to us to help them solve their problems. Now, it could be something as simple as, um, I really want to read this book and I can't find this book anywhere, but you have a used bookstore, and by golly, that book that I want is in your store. But I didn't know that. I wouldn't have known that if you had, as a business owner, hadn't done something that said, we have hard to find books. We have, you like cozy mysteries? We have these authors. You like, thrillers? We have these authors. And it's a way to step in and show somebody else who wants that particular book that, gee, maybe they'll have it. Maybe they'll have that book that I want. Or it could be something as significant as, um, I just can't sleep. I can't sleep. This mattress is 30 years old. I I just need to get a good mattress, but I don't know how to pick one. I don't know how to pick a mattress. I don't know what I need. I feel out of my element here, but all I know is I need to get a good night's sleep and I can't. And as a mattress salesperson, you come in and you explain, this is how you choose a mattress. This is what you're looking for when you lay down on a mattress. These are the things that you want to think about when you're talking to somebody about how they make their mattresses and what their mattresses are made out of. And if you can give somebody the empowerment to make a good decision. How many times have you bought something and not really known what you're buying, and you get it home and you realize this isn't what I wanted? But if you find someone who says, this is how you do this is how you choose this, then you have empowered that person. You have educated that person on how to make an educated purpose or purchase, how to be satisfied with something that they hoped would be a solution for them. And they get it home and they find out, yes, I can trust this person because this person helped me figure out how to do this. And I didn't waste my money, and they took time and they listened to me, and I'm going to go back to this person. So now you have become a part of this mattress buyer's life, and you've become part of that person's story.
So, Susie, I think it's really important that we cover what you do. And I'm very inspired by you often. I think about you often.
Well, thank you.
And I want to know what inspires you to help other people. Why do you want so much to give this gift that you have of building up other people? And why is that important to you?
Um, I think it goes back to just the way I've lived my life. I have been a caregiver for pretty much my entire life. And after my oldest son passed away a few years ago, I thought that that purpose was over. But it wasn't until a good friend helped me see that when I can help somebody else create their message, help somebody else help their customers, then that means I'm still a caregiver. That means I'm still helping the world. I'm in some way. Um, if I can help you figure out a way to reach more people with the values and the techniques that you use to help people live an aligned, authentic life, then I inadvertently have helped that person as well. Um,
You said that you were a caretaker for most of your life. Is that a role that you wanted and accepted, like just naturally? Is that who you are? Or is there
I
more to it?
Well, I think I had a perfect role model. My mother was a caregiver to everyone. She took care of her mother until she died, her father until she died, my father's mother until she died, my father until he died, my brother's wife before she died. And I just learned watching her that there are some times when other people are more important. And so I'm going to get spiritual on you here.
Yay.
So 30 some years ago, when my husband and I realized we were pregnant with our first son, our first child, we never anticipated that the birth of that child would have such a huge impact on not only us, but all of our children, all of our families, anyone who met us, because a pregnancy is normally 40 weeks long. My water broke at 19 weeks. Our son was born at 26 weeks, and he spent the first 5 months of his life in the hospital. Our introduction to parenthood was out of the frying pan and into the fire. Um, there was no learning or preparing for a baby in our home. Our home suddenly became like a hospital room or a hospital. When he came home from the hospital, he had a feeding tube. Um, he doctor's appointments all the time. And it's not that it's that role of caretaker is one that I accepted happily. I felt I didn't, number one, I didn't have a choice, that this child was looking at us, my husband and me, to give him the best life that we could. And we learned how to do that. I think that gave we gave him a great life, but he gave us so much more in return. And it wasn't until maybe 5 years ago that I realized that not all parents feel like that. And because I always thought, what else was I going to do? But other parents, no fault against them. It's that's the way that we each are responsible for our own decisions. But I also felt like God gave this child to us because God knew that we would take care of him and his life. Even though other people looking at him would think he didn't have a quality of life, he was blind. He didn't walk. He only used the right side of his body. He wore diapers. He had a feeding tube. Um, some people would have looked at him and thought that he didn't have a quality of life. But I look at I look at my memories of him, and I see a happy man, a happy boy, a happy young man. I see someone who loved to laugh. Um, I remember someone who just wanted to, for any reason he could find, he would find it to laugh, which is one of the reasons why we never took him to the movies anymore, because something would happen in the movie theater and he would start laughing at it, and then everyone would get angry, and then we'd have to take on, yeah. So anyway, but I digress.
So Susie, I'm going to interrupt you here.
Okay.
What I hear is that other people made judgments about Evan, about quality of life. And what I hear from you is pure and infinite love based in spirit or God. And you love this child without judgment. And that's what true love is. And so just because people don't have the ability to love as purely and infinitely as you do, doesn't make them right. I
Oh,
totally
yeah.
agree
Yeah.
that you created a quality of life for him that was out of love. And what could be more real, authentic, and beautiful than that?
I also kind of feel like God looked at this soul and said, who do you want to be your parents? And Evan said, I want them. I want them. And um, maybe I feel like he had a connection to God that nobody else really understood. He knew when someone was reading the Bible. He knew when someone was singing a praise song. He would stop to listen. We had an audio Bible for him, and when he was upset for whatever reason, we would start to play the audio Bible, and he would calm down and he would listen. He would just listen. You could tell he was listening to the Word of God. And I mean, I miss him terribly. I miss him terribly. But I would not be doing what I'm doing now if things had been different. If he was still here, I would be gladly changing diapers and complaining about blowouts and, you're so big and I can't carry you, and having him laugh at me when I say how big he is or how long he is or whatever. But I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. I don't think I ever would have met you if he were still here. There's so many, there are so many people he has given me the gift of meeting simply because he did go home to God.
And I really heard that the first time I met you and you sharing Evan's story. And it just touched me so deeply that you're so authentic and so full of love. And I absolutely believe that he chose you as parents. Like, that's how I think in terms of that we get to choose our parents. And I know and have learned since I've met you what a beautiful soul you are. And I can see exactly why Evan chose you. And you're out to cause really beautiful relationships and connections in the world because you love so deeply, so authentically, so purely and infinitely through the Spirit of God. And I want to thank you for just being in the world in the way that you are and allowing me to be a part of your journey. I know you talk about us being the heroes of our own story, and yet I see angels. Brian had asked me before we got on the call, he's like, who is Susie to you? And I said, an angel. And he said, who who are you to Susie? And I said, an angel.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, so we're having two angels have a conversation today because that's who you two are to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that in my heart that God did guide us together. That
Yeah.
Evan did choose you as parents, you and Terry. And it's just gives me, you are a hero in my story, Susie, and really have touched me in ways that no other human has because I feel like family. And I haven't had that for a long time. And it suddenly has shown up in a lot of people because just because you made one sentence a couple of weeks ago, you said, and you have chosen family. And that was powerful to me. And so I really see you as a powerful force in my life. Although we don't talk often, the gift of you is every day.
I pray for you constantly. Every time you cross my mind, I pray that you are safe, that God has given you food today, that God has given you shelter, that you feel value. We don't no, we don't talk very as often as maybe we could or should. Um, but you're still always on my mind. You're my sister. You're my sister. And um, I just I kind of look at myself as some people would say it's gullible, some people would say it's too trusting, but I take people at face value at what they present to me. And um, that's something that Evan taught me, is that um, there can't be any judgment or preconceived notions or preconceived ideas when dealing with people, because the only thing I should use to judge someone is that relationship with me, not what I've heard from someone else, not what, um, whatever. But, um, and that's kind of my goal, is to help other people see the humanity in their clients, their customers, and to be able to build a legacy that, maybe they never thought that they could. But I mean, Evan built a legacy and he could only say 3 words. Certainly, I should be able to help somebody else build a legacy because they want to be the local grocery store, or they want to be a wedding dress maker. Just imagine the lives you change by making somebody's wedding dress.
Right.
Um, or baking their cake, or cleaning their pool for a pool party. Um, we used to go to a family camp every summer, and I remember asking one of the kitchen people, how do you clean up our tables? You're here, you're in the kitchen, it's hot, it's yucky, but you're out here wiping the tables down and vacuuming and whatever. And she's like, if somebody is sitting at this table and they find God at this table that I cleaned, or standing on this carpet that I vacuumed 2 hours ago, then I've had an impact. And um, that's that's what I learned. That's what I've learned from my oldest son, is that everybody has an impact on the world.
Absolutely. Everybody is humanity. Everybody is light and energy, and we are energy beings. And when we connect with God or life force or spirit or whatever you want to call it,
Gus.
Gus, right? We do have an impact. And there are certain things that I can't do, like take my garbage to the city dump, cut my meat and butcher it, you know. So I think that, like you do, all of those people are important in a way that they don't understand sometimes, but in a way that they do that's different from how we see. Because you just asked this lady, and she said she could be a connection to God. And that's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
This is a really beautiful thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, next time we talk, Susie, let's talk about humanity and AI,
Okay.
because I am defining humanity for AI. And I know that AI is moving really quickly. And I think that we're going to lose our humanity. And yet, the way that you love and trust people, I feel like nothing is in between us right now. And there's no pretenses. And that's really humanity to me, to be able to love in a way that is so deep and pure and real that you never can give that to AI, no matter what they look like, what you program them to do. And
Mhm.
I really know that you're an expert at AI. So I would love to have that conversation with you next time.
Absolutely. I would love to as well. Thank you so much. I love you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
I love you too, Susie. Thank you.